Very well. Good morning and welcome to the last day of conference. By no means this is the least important. We had very good debate in this room, so I'm expecting nothing less for this session. And today we're going to talk about artificial intelligence and the opportunities that it can bring to evaluation. I will be your moderator. I'm Patrizia Cocca from the Global Evaluation Initiative. But I have a very distinguished panel of people that are going to share with you the experience they have had with using artificial intelligence in their own organizations. But aside from that, after the presentation, of course, you will be able to ask questions about what you heard. But we are really curious to know how artificial intelligence is now being used in countries. So I would encourage, after the presentation, if somebody would like to speak up about their experience in a concise manner, it would be greatly beneficial to the discussion and to sharing knowledge among us. So thank you. Without further ado, I would like to introduce the first speaker, who is Yin-Ling Rong, which I'm pretty sure I already misspelled, but she is a PhD student in economics at Shanghai University of International Business and Economics, specializing in international development cooperation, monitoring and evaluation, with a master's degree in international law and a Chinese legal professional qualification. Yin-Ling Rong brings a multidisciplinary approach to her research. She has also published articles in journals such as International Economic Cooperation and Asia-Pacific Economy. Sorry about that. Today I have a sore throat, so you have to bear with my voice. So Yin will be the first one to go because she will be talking about how what is AI and how we can use it in evaluation.
Thank you, Patrizia. And I will sit here. And hello, everyone. My name is Yin-Ling Rong from Shanghai University of International Business and Economics. I'm delighted to share the topic of applying AI in evaluation. In general, my speech includes the following part: what AI is, its potential application in evaluation, the limitation and the ethical challenge we face, and finally include a vision for future of AIs in evaluation. We may have heard a lot of AI. Let's just take a quick review. According to the European Commission's high-level expert group, AI assistants designed by humans that perceive the environment, interpret data, and make decisions to achieve the goals. And AI can also learn and adapt by analyzing how their actions impact the environment. AI is a vast ecosystem that includes a wide range of technologies. This figure highlights the major branches of AI, but it doesn't capture how they connect with possible using in evaluation. And in public policy evaluation, those AI technology can be divided into the category of collecting data, processing data, and using them for decision making. Natural language process can be used to collect and analyzing text data from policy documents, social media, and public feedback. Computer vision technology combined with robotics can get the information in the area like urban transportation and environment monitoring through visual data. Machine learning can be used to process information, identify patterns from data, and promote prediction. Fuzzy logic can handle uncertainties, make it suitable for evaluating ambiguous data. Cognitive computing simulates policy options to find the best solution and help explore the multiple possibilities to assist the decision maker. Expert system also can use to generate policy recommendations. In practical, some AI tools have already proved incredible useful. For example, Cocca is used to analyzing qualitative data from interview or focus groups. Avalanche process open-ended survey requirement response, and REAM streamline the literature review for researchers. We now have a wave of generative AI tools like Cocca, Copilot, and ChatGPT, which is built using deep learning technology and trained on the massive data set from the internet. Yes, AI have been developing quickly, but how should the evaluator engage those developments? I would like to highlight two studies. First, let's talk about a study by Nielsen, who look at how emerging technology, especially AI, are transforming the evaluation. This study explored AI's role across the various stages of evaluation process. When it comes to monitoring and evaluation system, it can streamline the data flow and textures and deliver insight with high speed and accuracy, such as dealing with large document and response data. But when we shift our focus to evaluation study and evaluation capacity, AI falls short. It can provide the newest reason, creative problem solving, and decision-making ability like humans have. Now, let's turn to the another study by Carol Basehead, which focus on the big language models. This research highlighted the design work and analyzing as well as writing are mostly affected by that models with the impact rate of 98% and 100% respectively. It counts to assist activities that require in-person interactions like interview and other qualitative surveys. And let's consider a few examples of how large language models are advancing the evaluation. Now some AI tools allow users upload fields, and the model can analyzing and summarize a big amount of information. This can accelerate the process, developing the first draft by helping users quickly to extract key insight and compare different policies or documents. And AI also changed the brainstorm during the evaluation design phase. By using AI tool, Elevator can generate a wide range of ideas, such as recognize to see the country's level requirements, and possibility would never stop there. AI can use to draft survey question and deal with the text data and data analyzing and document conversion and integrity with the qualitative analyzing software. With those advancements comes significant challenge. Evaluation also needs significant consideration for the limitation of the AI technology. First off, the issue is high computation cost and environment impact of running AI model. Another issue is bias in AI system. AI inherent biases present in the data they trained on, such as stereotype related to the race, disability, or gender. We also face the black box problem with AI model. It's difficult to understand how the model arrived their conclusion. Beyond those challenges, faculty accuracy remains a significant hurdle. AI systems sometimes produce inaccurate or misleading information. Lastly, they are concerned of the opaque data. Users often can't identify or modify the dataset on which AI model are initially trained. Those limitations remind us that while AI holds potential to transform evaluation, we must navigate its ethical and practical challenges. So in conclusion, integrity AI in evaluation offers a significant potential for improved efficiency and quality, but require carefully align with human judgment for sensitive decision. First, AI tools should focus on enhancing specific tasks while maintaining transparency and accountability. Second, we must improve AI model for accuracy and increase safety, especially in non-English content, and ensure community involvement. Third, protecting data privacy and insecurity. Sensitive information is essential. Fourth, AI use evaluation must align with human fairness and integrity. Finally, empower evaluator with AI skill while emphasizing ethical consideration is crucial. Thank you for your attention, and I would like to dive in deeper into those discussions with all of you.
Thank you very much, Lynn. Excellent overview. I think it gave a very good introduction and overview of what AI, just a reminder to what we need to think about when we are thinking about AI and the opportunities and the challenges of using it in evaluation. Now, I'm going over here because my next speaker is Marco Segone. Marco is the director of the Independent Evaluation Office of the United Nations Population Fund, UNFPA. And previously, he was the director of the Evaluation Office of UN Women. He's also the chair of the United Nations Evaluation Group, the network of evaluation offices of 46 UN agencies, and is the co-founder and co-chair of Eval Partners, which is the global partnership for national evaluation capacities, and Eval Gender Plus. Before that, Marco has also been responsible for decentralized evaluation functions in UNICEF, and he has authored dozens of speech, so lots of experience to learn from Marco, and he will be talking about how AI can be integrated into existing evaluation frameworks to enhance decision-making.
Ni hao, everybody, and thanks a lot, Patrizia, for the introduction, but you have not mentioned the most important things about myself, and that is that I was born in Italy, the land of Tarantella, but I also lived in Brazil, the land of samba, and in Colombia, the land of salsa. And therefore, when I talk, I need to dance and move, so I hope it's okay with you if I stand up and not sitting down. Okay, so in the next 10 minutes, I will just accompany you in the journey that we as UNFPA, the United Nations Population Fund, have done so far when it comes to the application of AI, actually Gen AI, generative AI, to evaluation. As a first step, we did mapping use cases of AI tools. Why? Because the idea is not to use AI just for the sake of using AI. The idea is to use AI in a very intentional manner to make the evaluation function more efficient and effective. So that's why we started with a need assessment across the evaluation life cycle to better understand where is the most value added of AI throughout the evaluation cycle. And once we identified that, then we did a solution exploration study with what's available in the market. But we immediately recognize, as Lynn also already mentioned, that Gen AI comes with potential enormous benefits, but also with potential enormous risks. And that's why we say no. So let's stop a moment and let's reflect how to do it right. And that's why, first of all, we came up with what we call the Gen AI Power Evaluation Function strategy. So a strategy that is really guiding all our vision and efforts for an ethical and responsible use of AI. And here in the QR codes, you can download the strategy. And this strategy is really focusing on the ethical and responsible aspect, and is aligned to the UNEC ethical principle for AI use in evaluation, is still in draft. And these are really, as you can see in the screen, the key principle for this ethical and responsible use. So is the do not harm, transparency and accountability, fairness, participation and inclusiveness, privacy and data protection, accuracy and reliability, human-centered approach, and upholding human rights. Then we said, okay, so now let's walk the talk. So we start with piloting the use of AI in two very different exercises. The first one was the evaluation of the UNFPA strategic plan, so a full-fledged evaluation focusing on UNFPA. And here mainly we use AI to do a qualitative analysis of 300 documents. The second pilot was very different in nature, both for the fact that it was not an evaluation but a meta-synthesis, but also because it was not only UNFPA, but it was 13 different United Nations agencies coming together to produce this exercise. So we used AI both for extract reports, so 13 UN agencies means 13 different databases. So the first step was AI to extract the report that were relevant for the themes of this meta-synthesis. And the second, we arrived to 1,300 reports to be analyzed. And so we started to apply AI to 5% of the sample, because as I will mention later on, one of the lessons learned is that, you know, we were talking before among ourselves, sometimes if you read the newspapers, it looks like AI is just magical. You just push a button and you get all the analysis and the report writing, etc. Well, unfortunately, it doesn't work like that. And there is a lot of interaction between the machine and the humans and the human specialist. So that's why we had 3 rounds of pilot testing. So the first round of prompting, and then we got the analysis generated by AI, verified by human specialists, second round of prompting, and second verification, third round of prompting, and third verification. So a lot of interaction. And we also launched what we call the AI scorecard. As I said, the idea of AI is really to focus on those elements that really add value. And so for both pilots, we then assess the quality of the results in terms of accuracy and reliability, efficiency in terms of time saving and cost benefit, ethical considerations, as already mentioned, following the UNEG ethical standard, and the general user experience. So that we can really track and we can really see where AI is adding the most value in our evaluation processes. So as I have only 2 additional minutes, what are the overall lessons learned? So mainly 2 lessons. The first one is that humans are accountable and not the machines. And that's very important to always keep it in mind. And that's why, for example, we incorporate ethical AI use clauses into the contracts. When we hire external evaluation teams, either individual or companies, we put in the contract a legal enforcement that they must follow the ethical AI principles. We ensure transparency regarding AI models at the contractual stage, again. So there is a legal aspect of it. We also include AI disclaimer in the report and explain how AI was used in the methodology of the report, so transparency. We prioritize data protection measures because we do everything within our organizational IT policies and systems. And as I mentioned, it's very important to always consider the time for human verification and oversight across multiple rounds of analysis. Second lessons learned, you have to see, especially in the beginning, as an investment. You have to be intentional in experimenting and in constantly adapting. And this goes from an office perspective, so it's really a change management process that you need to put in place. We are evaluators, we are not IT specialists, we are not AI specialists. So you will see some colleagues they will be very open to the idea of innovate. Some others, they will resist it. So it's important to facilitate a collective mind shift towards AI. Second, it's important to skill the evaluators on AI skills and build capacities. Very often, people ask me, well, Marco, are you not afraid that you will lose your job to a machine? And my answer is always no. I'm sure that I will not lose my job to a machine, but I'm sure that I will lose my job to another human who is very familiar with how to use AI. So it's very important that upskills of we as evaluators, especially to prompting, engineering, etc. And that's something new to us. I mean, very few of us are IT specialists or AI specialists. The aspect of having an internal data scientist can enhance these prompting capabilities. So we tried both with internal and external, and we found out that having an internal data scientist is going to help a lot. And keep track of the efficiency gains to support the scale up. So, we are not scaling up everything. We are trying to scale up only on those areas that we think is very important. And then be clear on the initial investment. So initially, maybe it's not going to add efficiency or because you really have to invest financial, human resources and time. So it's more a kind of midterm investment. And the last one, so as a conclusion, should we embrace or resist Gen AI? And to me, we should neither embrace nor resist Gen AI, but we should shape the Gen AI application to evaluation to make sure that it's ethical and responsible, to be sure that it's really guided by human rights, transparency, and accountability, and to make sure that Gen AI must benefit everyone, including the 1/3 of humanity who are still offline. And that's why it's really a call to come together. Okay, AI deleted the last slides. There was an additional slide. It was a call really to come together as a global evaluation community to make sure that AI can be leveraged, but in an ethical and responsible manner. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Marco. Ethics has been a topic, a hot topic today in both discussion before and now. So I'm going to pass. Oops. Yeah. I'm still alive. I'm going to pass this to Anish. So Anish is Pradhan. He's an IT specialist at UNDP IEO with over 20 years of experience in the field of information and technology for development evaluation. He's the project lead for IEO's IDA, which stands for Artificial Intelligence for Development for Data Analytics initiative. In addition to these responsibilities, as information and technology specialist, Anish is also responsible for designing and developing the Evaluation Resource Center platform, UNDP's corporate platform for managing evaluation data. He has an MBA in information systems and a bachelor degree in computer science and mathematics. Anish, the floor is yours, and he's going to talk about IDA. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Anish Pradhan. I work for UNDP Independent Evaluation Office. And today I'm here to present UNDP's IDA platform. Yeah. So in IEO, we maintain a database called Evaluation Resource Center. ERC is the short form. And it is the corporate platform of UNDP. And it has currently over 6,600 evaluations. And every year, 300 to 400 evaluations are added to this database. It's used by not only IEO, but also by UNDP country offices. We have funds and programs like UNV and UNCDF are also using this platform to upload their evaluations. So some of the challenges that we experience with with ERC, was the search capability of ERC is very limited. In 2021, when we were trying to start with our reflection series, which is a paper on lessons, we were trying to extract evidence from evaluation, and we found that it was very manual and labor intensive. You had to download your evaluation and then extract paragraph and put them in NVivo. So what we decided to do was why not we use AI to put together a platform that can automate extraction of evidence from evaluation and then use those evaluation to generate insights and lessons. So that's how the IDA project got started. In a nutshell, what IDA does is it just gives you a web portal where you can type your query and it goes inside its database and gives you a set of finding, conclusion, and recommendations that it finds most relevant based on your search, and it allows you to generate insight. So that's all IDA does. Just to give you a little bit of a flavor of what went to development of IDA, we have so far completed 2 phases of IDA. In phase 1, we started with development of taxonomy. We put together a taxonomy of around 217 labels based on UNDP's areas of work, and we pulled around 500 evaluations from ERC, different types of evaluation, to prepare a training data set. And we use that training data set to develop our own classification model. So here, this is the data pipeline of ERC. This was the first phase data pipeline. What's happening here is we are pulling evaluations from ERC. First, they are brought into the IDA platform. Then it goes through the extraction. At the extraction phase, we're extracting text from those evaluations at the paragraph level. And then they are sent to our classification model. We have so far built 3 classification models. One of the classification model, what it does, it looks at a paragraph and tries to identify whether it's related to a finding, conclusion, recommendation. And other 2 are used for applying labels. The taxonomy you saw earlier, so those 2 models looks at a paragraph and applies those labels to the paragraph. Once the all the paragraphs are processed through our models, they are then indexed by our search engine, and you can then search those paragraphs from the IDA portal. So in phase 2, what we did is we realized that there are almost 20% of evaluation in ERC are in other languages other than English, French, and Spanish. So we added a translator, and this was more or less an out-of-the-box translator from Amazon. And we process all our French and Spanish and some Portuguese documents through the translator, and they were then sent through the IDA pipeline, right? Extraction, labeling, and all that, and they were made available to search. Now IDA is complete. It now indexes all 6,600 evaluation, and you can search for evidence through IDA. The other main thing we added in phase 2 was we added a sentiment model. And this was very challenging for us because the way the languages are written in evaluation are not always very straightforward. There is always, however, somewhere in between. So when we used the out-of-the-box sentiment model from Amazon, most of our findings were coming out as neutral. So we had to go back and then develop a training data set to develop this sentiment model. And what we did was started preparing the training data set at the sentence level, and using that sentence level sentiment, we rolled it up to the paragraph level, and we had to apply some weights based on the totality of positive and negative sentiments within the evaluation to come up with a little bit more accurate sentiment. And rather than using positive, negative, neutral, we decided to go with a more linear sentiment model where we get a value of a sentiment, and we have put together, put them into a buckets of positive, mixed positive, neutral, mixed, negative, and negative. The other thing we did was in phase 1, when you search IDA, if you had used IDA earlier, what it did was it just gives you a set of paragraphs, and that's it, and you had to download them and you had to do your own analysis. So in phase 2, what we did is we added a topic clustering model. So IDA would take those paragraphs and then put them into cluster of topic and then send them through our summarizer to give you a 2 to 3 paragraph of insight summary. And they are divided into finding, conclusion, recommendation. So just, there's no, the internet is a little bit difficult, so I have put together a few screenshots of IDA. So this is the IDA portal. It's open for everyone to access, ida.undp.org. It's a public platform. Anyone can go and access it. And it has a simple search interface, but if you want to be more specific, if you want to search by SDG goal, there's a tab for SDG, and you can click on your SDG goal and extracts evidence by SDG. There is an option to search by location. You can focus your search to a country, and it looks at only the evaluation from that country or a region. And also, we have opened up option to search by IDA labels, the taxonomy labels that you saw earlier. You can click on them, and it just looks at paragraph based on those taxonomy. So here is one keyword that I've just put up. And when you do a search, this is how the first interface looks like. What IDA is doing is when it goes into the IDA database and extracts finding, conclusion, and recommendation, and it lists 2,000 of them in the order of relevance. So on the side, we have this list of filter categories. If you want to narrow down your search output, if you are interested only to look at evaluations from last 10 years, or if you're interested to look at evaluations that are high quality evaluation, or moderately satisfactory, highly satisfactory, so you can do that. You can even filter down your evaluation by project attributes. All the evaluations in UNDP, we are now linking them in with UNDP strategic plan. So they are linked to not only the overall strategic plan outcome and output, but also at the country level, the country outcome output. You can really filter down your search result by using these filters. And we have also added sentiment. If you're interested to learn about what are the good things happen, you can choose positive. What needs improvement, you can choose negative sentiments. And once you are done that, you can click on the Generate Insight tab. When you click on the Insight tab, what it does is it now gives you this insight summary of topics. It has clustered those paragraphs, and it gives you these topics. So now, if you want to see a little bit more on each of these topics, you can see those topics are divided into finding, conclusion, and recommendation. Right? So here I'm looking at finding related topics. So if I choose one topic and go inside, it gives you this a little bit more summary on that topic, but it also gives you a list of evaluation where those evidence were identified, and you can actually download them. And if you are interested now to look at how this summary was built, you can click on that blue dot, and it gives you the paragraphs that was extracted by IDA. So you can download those paragraphs if you want to do your own summary. Right? And we also wanted to give more option to filter by reports. So what if you are only interested to get your insight from selected report? So there is an option called group by report. When you do group by, it lists all the report from the IDA output, and you can choose, okay, look at only these 5 reports and now give me insight. So it does the same thing. So you can really play with IDA, change your search criteria, and iteratively regenerate your insight until you are satisfied. So in IEO, just to briefly tell you, we've been using IDA since we have this IDA developed heavily for our reflections and synthesis work. Our thematic and non-thematic evaluations are using IDA to identify evaluations that they should look at. We just did a gap map, evidence gap map analysis using IDA, which used to take months before. Now we use IDA to extract evidence and use EpiMapper to generate gap map. We've been providing training to our country office colleagues so that they can learn how to use IDA to extract evidence so that they can have a more informed country program. And just to quickly, for next step, what are the things we are thinking about doing is we want to change this IDA. Right now it's connected only to UNDP IU database. We want to make it a multi-institutional database, so other database could be added, and then we can have a much more holistic evidence portal. We would like to bring in secondary data sources like project data, indicator data to enhance the quality of our insights. So they are triangulated. Right now, it's only the insight based on evaluation. We tried it already, but we need to refine it a little bit more. So we haven't released that model yet. But we want to bring the global indicators, project data also into our IDA model. And the third thing we are trying to do is to add a chatbot on top of the IDA search. So right now, the prompts are already engineered by us. We are giving IDA, this is the prompt you use to generate insight. We want to let our user define their own prompt. Here's the set of paragraph. Now user can now type your own prompt and get your insights. So that's the thing that's coming. Thank you.
Thank you, Anish. Just a quick question. How long have you been working on the IDA portal?
Okay, so we started in 2021 before, right after COVID. And then when we were working in phase 2 of IDA, we were struggling with the summarization a lot. But then the ChatGPT came, right? So we took advantage of ChatGPT. So the summarization you're getting is from ChatGPT.
So now I'm going to pass the microphone to Thomas Kelly and Devika Lakote, who are from 3IE. And they're going to talk about bridging the gap between evidence generation and evidence use. So Thomas is lead 3IE's agenda to strengthen evidence culture and develop practical solutions to facilitate evidence use. Previously, he served as Deputy Vice President for the Department of Policy and Evaluation at the Millennium Challenge Corporation and has taught at university in the US, Kenya, and Mexico. Devika is a data scientist at 3IE. She provides technical leadership in the application of data science to impact evaluation and evidence synthesis. She specializes in causal inference, AI, and a toolkit of econometric and data science methods. She holds a PhD from the University of Chicago. So thank you very much for being with us. And
thank you, Patrizia. We are going to condense a fairly long presentation we have down to fit the topic today. So I'm going to be very, very brief. I'm going to start by telling you a little bit about 3IE and why we are interested in artificial intelligence. And then Devika is going to talk about a chatbot that we are developing for a database that we maintain called the Development Evidence Portal. But before she does that, she's also going to talk a little bit about different AI uses that we have, that we use within our evaluation activities in order to put the chatbot use of the large language model we are developing, or using rather, in context. So quickly, who are we at 3IE? We were created about 15 years ago to try and increase the generation and use of rigorous evidence. So we've been part of a broader movement to increase the existence and then use of impact evaluations throughout the evidence ecosphere. There are many, many more impact evaluations, both experimental, quasi-experimental now than there were 15 years ago. This chart here gives you a sense of where they are currently in existence across different regions. And just skipping forward to give you a picture of a portal that we maintain called a Development Evidence Portal that has brought together 17,000 different impact evaluations, as well as over 1,000 systematic reviews, which is a synthesis of different types, a synthesis of different impact evaluations. This is an extremely rich data source that we have. And I want to call your attention to this because this is what we'll be pointing our chatbot at. This will be the source of data we have. So this is very different than what our colleagues at the UN agencies were talking about regarding the evaluations that they have. That URL there will take you to the Development Evidence Portal. Now going to pass the microphone to Devika to talk about those two topics I made reference to. But I do want to note that while our colleagues at IEO have been working on IDA for 3 years, we're much newer to this, so we are still in the sandbox stage. But one thing I will say is that one of the advantages is the massive advancements through the different large language models have allowed us to take a slightly different approach.
Thanks, John. So, hi everyone, I'm Devika. I'm going to give you a little bit of an overview of the different types of artificial intelligence we've been using at 3IE before I jump into the chatbot and how the chatbot has been working and what we've learned from this process so far. So just to go back here in case everyone wants to see the, and I will refer to this in a second. So as Ling very helpfully pointed out earlier, there is, artificial intelligence has been around for a while, and one helpful way to categorize it would be into predictive AI and generative AI. And so far, a lot of the work that we've been doing has been in predictive AI, where basically the model would take past information, train itself, and then predict labels for new information. Whereas generative AI, which is the new technology that we have now, is able to generate new information because it's already been trained on tons and tons of data and tons of language. So it has an internal understanding of language, so you don't have to retrain it, but you can use it more or less out of the box. Of course, we want to narrow the context that it has and all of those things, but this is one main difference between predictive and generative AI. And we have been working in predictive AI quite a bit, even before we started working in generative AI. And since this talk is also about brainstorming or thinking about how we can use these in evaluation, I wanted to share a couple of examples so that we all have a better sense of the possibilities, not just of generative AI, but AI at large. So one very early application that we had is machine learning for screening studies. So as Tom mentioned, we do a lot of systematic reviews at 3IE, where we take multiple impact evaluations and use them to create a synthesized product where we're taking evidence from each of these impact evaluations and combining them into one review so that it's easy for policymakers or decision makers to read and understand what's the overview of the evidence in the space. So for that, obviously, we have to go through multiple impact evaluations. And what machine learning models helped us do is screen it in a more efficient way, where we would feed it a bunch of impact evaluations with some training data and say, okay, for this particular systematic review, can you label which of these would be relevant based on this relevance criteria? So that is something that has given us enormous efficiency gains. A lot of these models are available online freely. So if any of you are interested in doing systematic reviews of impact evaluations, using machine learning at the first stage to screen the studies can be a very useful application. Another application we've used machine learning for is in the geospatial data analysis, which we had a great session on it yesterday. Machine learning can really help look at satellite images and detect objects. So for example, we've used it to detect farmlands, aquaculture ponds, wetlands, and that also kind of gives us a lot of efficiency gain and accuracy because you're not sort of drawing a polygon around every farmland that you see, and you're able to detect farms or whatever other objects you want across a huge geographic space. So that's another very useful application, and Google Earth Engine has made it possible for everyone to access satellite data in a user-friendly way. So I would highly recommend using Google Earth Engine in collaboration with ChatGPT. So you can go to ChatGPT and ask it, can you help me code in Google Earth Engine? And you'll be able to create your own maps and do a lot of satellite analysis with that tool. And the final sort of generative AI application that I want to talk about is using generative AI in research commissioning. So we also have a research commissioning center And we are in the works right now of thinking about how can we use generative AI and combination of predictive and generative AI to make sure that we're sourcing applications from everywhere for the research that we're commissioning, to make sure that what is the literature out there, what are the gaps, and how can we summarize that information to decide what kind of RFPs to put out. So that is another sort of workflow application of a combination of predictive and generative AI. And then finally, we have the chatbot. So we started with looking at the development evidence portal and realizing that there's a lot of complex findings in each of these papers. A lot of them are structured in an academic research paper format and across many, many different methodologies, not just RCTs or not just difference in difference, but as you go across the field, there's a lot of different methods. And so if you're an expert in one method, it might be difficult to understand what a paper from a different method is saying, or you may not be able to calibrate the findings. And so the idea was that we want to use a chatbot to sort of understand, to help people translate the language from one kind of method to a more general language that everyone can understand. So some of the features of our chatbot are, one is the ease of use. So like I said, we really want to make sure that people can access research in an easy way. So the idea is that users can chat with the bot and learn about evaluations, ask it questions, and kind of say, okay, I am not a technical expert in this topic. Can you explain this in simple language? And then the chatbot would break that down and explain it in a simple language. The second feature is that it's reliability of synthesized evidence. So for example, we have human-curated, high-confidence systematic reviews in the development evidence portal. So it's already human-curated. We have quality assessment of all the systematic reviews. So when you're chatting with the bot, it's going to prioritize those. So when you ask it, oh, what is the evidence on this topic, it's going to prioritize the high-confidence systematic review so that you're getting an overview. And then it will list out the impact evaluations that are part of the reviews, and then you can say, okay, can you give me information about this specific impact evaluation? And then it will do that. And I'll show you some screenshots from our initial trials. Another feature is that we want to include decision makers and policymakers at the development stage. Part of why we want to present this at the conference is to identify use cases and priorities and crowdsource user queries. So I'm looking forward to the engaging discussion later. And then Gen AI literacy, which is how to prompt the model, is really important. Just like how when Google was launched, we had no idea how to search for anything on Google. I think we're in a similar space now where we don't really know how to talk to the chatbot to get what we want. And so part of our effort is also to use this chatbot to guide the users. So I'm going to show you an example. So basically, when you talk with the bot, it says, okay, hi, hello, how can I assist you today? You tell it who you are, and then at later iterations, it also actually asks you who you are, what's your level of expertise. And then it asks you what questions you have. You can say, okay, give me a list of impact evaluations in India. And then what it does at the back end is actually goes into the portal and goes into every single study and checks if it's relevant, and then summarizes that study, and then ranks it based on a ranker that we have inside it, and then gives you a summary of all the different papers. And you can trust it because it's coming from the portal directly. So it's mimicking ChatGPT, but its backend is only our portal with human-curated data. And then if you want more information about a particular program, it will give you that specific program just based on your prompting. So the idea is to mimic like talking to a human who's an expert in this field and kind of getting information in that format. So this is like a final summary of a paper in a long format. This is a systematic review summary where it's taking a systematic review and telling you all the things that worked in the systematic review, the things that didn't work, and so on. And just to conclude, since I know I'm almost out of time, maybe we'll get to some of these points in the question answer session itself. But the things to think about when we're looking at what are the concerns or what are the lessons we've learned so far, that there's two types of hallucinations. One is inaccuracy and one is irrelevance. So with the inaccuracy part, a lot of people come up to me and say, well, when I ask it questions, it's giving me wrong answers, like I know they're wrong. And the main way to solve that is to restrict the knowledge that it has. So when you're prompting the model, you say, do not use your own knowledge, just only use the documents that I provided to you, and then it restricts its information. But we still have this issue of irrelevance, where maybe you want a particular thing from that document, but it is giving you something else. So it's accurate, but it's not precise in that sense. And so that is a challenge that we're facing, which can be solved with better prompting. And then structured data extraction versus unstructured chatting also is another problem, where structured data extraction, which is something what Anish and Marco presented, which is you have a backend that's very structured and has a lot of information, and then you can sort of extract information from it. And then unstructured chatting is what I kind of presented, where you're just informally chatting with the bot, but at the back end, it has a lot of text available to it. So kind of understanding what is the back end that you're dealing with and how to interact with the bot accordingly. And then, yeah, I think the last point is guidance on how to interact with the chatbot. This is something at 3i we really are interested in doing. We're already conducting workshops with some of our partners to help them learn better prompting of the bot, and I think that can be very revolutionary in terms of how to interact with this technology. So yeah, thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you very much. And I think you end up in a point where I would like to start the discussion and see if from the audience there are experiences, if somebody would like to share the experiences in how AI has been used so far in your country, specifically in evaluation, and what kind of challenges and solutions you have encountered. Any volunteer? Yes, we have one. Thank you. Please.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Futhi Mazibugo from South Africa. We were doing the evaluation that goes further to the community. It's the evaluation of vulnerable groups programs provided by government. We used AI in the analysis of the documents that we receive across all the departments that are providing the interventions to vulnerable groups. Some of the experiences include the inaccuracy, because one, you need to understand what questions you need to ask the AI. We used ChatGPT, we used Claude, we used Copilot, so we were just trying to balance all the AI tools so that in the end we see what comes out of it, because if we use one, maybe the other one won't be as accurate as how we need. But in the end, we found out that you still need a human element in terms of understanding, because we find out that I'm not sure whether the person behind the development of the AI understand the evaluation language or the context of what we are looking for. However, it really cut our time short in terms of how much we could have, the time it could have taken for us to complete that document analysis, because it's quite a big data sets that we had to use to get the responses. Thank you so much. But yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Please.
Hi, thank you for the presentations. I am the Executive Director of the CLEAR Center in Latin America and the Caribbean. And right now we are designing the fundamentals training program for government officials in Latin America and the Caribbean countries, and we are having this debate about how to incorporate artificial intelligence in the program, right? One of the things we decided is that we are not going to have a module of IA like as we have one module of, let's say, outcomes evaluation or theory of change, right? we made that decision, but then we also made the second decision. It's like, let's incorporate a specific task related to artificial intelligence in, for example, the work they have to do, so that people try to sort of find AI tools and apply them to different aspects of an evaluation or monitoring. So let's say, like, let's build a story or a diagnostic, a theory of change, indicators, so on and so forth, like gender analysis, things like that. So as we are really designing this straight away, actually I have to work on that on the flight back from here. I would like to ask you, what ideas do you have for putting specific tasks on the training program we are designing at this moment for government officials in Latin America and the Caribbean? Artificial intelligence related, of course.
Thank you, Christian. Yes, we have two more hands up. Thank you.
Thank you very much. My name is Winnie Nabido. I head monitoring and evaluation at the National Planning Authority in Uganda. So I have three quick ones. One is I want to learn from the presenters to what extent this AI has reduced the cost of evaluation. Because in the presentation we talked about, it has reduced the cost. By how much, I would want to know and learn. I know it increases efficiency. But again, the second one is, how do we ensure accountability and, non-violation of data protocols while using AI? And lastly, in terms of, I would want to share, get lessons on how we can leverage this AI in terms of, establishing baselines for interventions, to facilitate, the DID methodologies. Thank you.
Thank you. We have Suhini in the back, and then we have the gentleman in the front, in the back, first.
Thanks. I'm Suhini from Clear South Asia. So my question is for Anish from UNDP. I'm just curious to understand why only UNDP reports? Because ultimately, I think we have been discussing about synthesis and use. So then it should be basically all UN reports, or maybe make it even broader than that.
Thank you. I'll take one more question, and then we will let the speakers answer, and then we will go another round. So there is one more question here in the front.
Thank you very much. My name is Mahmoud Said. I'm the National Imani Director from Somalia. I agree with the first presenter. Neither we embrace nor resist the artificial intelligence. Yes, artificial intelligence make our work easier, and it has both negative and positive aspect. I personally foresee a risk, especially to the young people who are now joining the evaluation sectors. People used to own what they publish, but nowadays, because of the use of AI, people do not brainstorm. They used to. People come and, it reduced the critical thinking. People became lazy because of using AI. We lost innovation and, creativity because of AI. So how do we actually balance, the AI and doing, the exact stuff? I have a question to UNDP Ida. Do you offer, yes, it is a wonderful platform, and I think many countries will benefit, many individuals rather. So do you, we have UNDP in Somalia, country office in Somalia. So do you offer training to government officials, to government institutions to learn and benefit the resources that are in the IDA platform? Thank you.
Thank you. I would like to now give the floor to the speakers. Maybe we can start with Anish, if you want to address some of the questions that were for you, and then I will go around. Thank you.
Thank you. On the question of opening IDA to other databases, when we started IDA, it was actually, we started because we had that specific problem of extracting evidence from evaluation to support this lesson learned paper. So we were focusing on our database only, and it was very easy for us because we didn't have to go through any barrier. All the data reports in our database are fully public, so it was easy to get started. But now we would like to open IDA to other agencies as well, and we've been getting a lot of requests, not only from UN agencies, but also from other institutions to bring their evaluation to IDA, and we are working through it. And it's easy, but it's not that cheap. You have to change the whole entire pipeline and figure out the cost model and all that kind of thing. So hopefully soon IDA will be open to other institutions. In terms of the other question about training, we've been doing training on demand. There have been few requests. Recently, there was a set of colleagues who visited us from Malaysia, and we did a training for them. And on demand, we do trainings. But soon we will be coming out with snippets of video clips on how to use IDA. And if there is any specific need, you can always contact us, and we'll be happy to do the training. Thank you.
Thank you. Would you like to?
I will answer the questions about how can AI enhance the accuracy and the efficiency, and how to improve the accountability of AI. At first, I think the AI is a generative technology. For AI, the first is technical problem, and I think because the marketing power, they have some, like they said that average like 15 months ago, the technology will renew, like they will like from the GPT-3 to ChatGPT-4. And for technology, they will be more, I think there will be more training, more data set, the model may be well more accuracy. But the human also needed to give the regulation, like we set the principle of AI and some specific law and specific law of AI, how to use AI. And we are focused on the field of evaluation. So we needed to find the difference of evaluation with other works, like a law or other things. Because I'm a lawyer, I'm familiar with this area, so I do this example. Sorry. And yes, that's my answer. So we needed to think a different aspect.
Thank you, Lynn. I'd like also to bring back the first question from Christian about the guidelines and what kind of inputs for the correct use of AI can be included in the guidelines, right, created by government. Was that the right question, Christian? Training tools, okay. So anybody would like to go for that? And then also we have how to make sure that evaluation are cost effective. You have a microphone there, so please go ahead.
Can you hear me? I can say a bit about what to include in the training for whoever really, government officials or research staff. One thing that we have seen at 3IE is coding. If anyone is a novice at coding but wants just a basic understanding of coding languages like Stata or R, even if you're completely unfamiliar with it, ChatGPT or any large language model treats it like any other language and is very proficient in it. And so if there is a coding language that people want to learn, it can be a really helpful assistant in that process. So if there is a module on training on any kind of coding languages or data analysis, using ChatGPT or like learning how to use ChatGPT to help you learn that coding language better, I think is a really good task that you can include in your training. And the other one is, again, I think prompting, like just learning how to prompt the model is another important skill that will help you across various tasks. So for example, if you want to summarize a paper, there's a particular way of prompting, or if you want to create a report or template for a report, there's a specific way of prompting. Like one example I can give is step-by-step prompting. So for example, whatever task you want to do, the way you prompt it is say, first do X, second do Y, third do Z, and then at the bottom you say, let's go step by step. And so if you give it a prompt in this way, it performs way better than just, writing a paragraph of text. So there are these kind of techniques that can really improve your efficiency. So learning about prompting techniques can be a good training module.
Thank you. Marco, please.
Yeah, perhaps I would like to address only 3 of the several very rich questions. The first one is from the colleague from Chile on how to incorporate AI in the curriculum. I think it should be both ways. I mean, it should be incorporated. My advice would be to incorporate both in each stage of the evaluation process. When my presentation, I was saying that as a first step, we did a need assessment on where AI can be applied throughout the evaluation process, and the result was that actually it can be applied to all of the evaluation steps, right from the writing of the term of reference, data collection, data analysis, report writing, and even communication and dissemination of the report. So in each stage, there is a potential way on how AI can be applied. Having said that, I think it would be also important to have a kind of standalone model on AI, because I was mentioning, first of all, it's a mind shift for us as evaluators, that we need to understand what AI is, what it can do, and what are the potential risks. So I think both of them. This brings me to the second comment from the colleague from Uganda, how to ensure accountability in the use of AI. And as I already mentioned, that's why we came up with a strategy that is really guiding us on how to make sure that we are reducing the potential risks. And mainly is that you have to be intentional. So you need clear standards, like the one that UNEC is producing. You need mechanism to make sure that the humans remain in control of whatever Gen AI is producing. And this brings me to the last comment from the colleague from Somalia. I think, you are right, absolutely right. I think perhaps the biggest potential risk of AI is that it's going to undermine the critical thinking of us as humans. And when we developed the strategy on AI, of course, it was a strategy about AI. So what we did is we asked AI to produce the strategy. And initially, I said, wow, that's great. So let's just publish it. Because exactly it was producing, even in my mind, what you were saying, that, I was going to not to use my critical thinking. But then likely we stop and we say, no, what would have the strategy look like if we were going to write straight from the beginning? And then we saw that there were very important elements that were missing from the one that was produced by Gen AI. So absolutely, the critical thinking is very important, and that's why human must always be at the center of whatever AI models we're going to use.
Thank you, Marco. I think this is a topic that every parent is dealing with if they have kids. So I would like to open again for the floor. I know that there was an end of the back first. The person at the back, over there.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. My name is Loïc. I'm from the Burundian National Evaluation Association. After the presentation, we can see that there is evidence that AI will improve the evaluation function. But there's still inequitable access to AI, and this can lead to grow inequality. And what have been done, or what can be done to ensure that artificial intelligence can be accessible for all evaluators to avoid this inequality? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, in the back. Yeah, behind you. Yeah. Thank you.
Hi, Abhinash this side. Thank you for the nice presentation and the work which is going on in AI. So we are at the nascent stage of development of AI in the DMO, Niti Aayog, India. So just wanted to know, like, why can this AI involvement be increased from a fancy search engine or just a summarizing thing? And can we actually include, like when we use the AI, can we include data sets, other sources of information, administrative data, not only the papers which are there in the kind of your UN system or anything else, not only the reports, published report, but can we also enlarge the scopes to include data sets, to include like secondary administrative data sets to understand more, and that AI, so what I think from my perspective as a user, so there are two things. One, which Marco said, like from the data collection, to analysis and the report production, can we use AIs in various, and human being the managing that, because we cannot, they are not accountable, machines are not accountable. So that's why human beings are to be there for, but after that also, so how are we actually, after these evaluations are done, how we actually include all other elements, data and others, to actually expand the scope of AI? Thank you.
Thank you. We had a question here in the front.
Thank you. Thank you. Kazim Shah from the Director of Evaluation from the Government of Pakistan. Like other countries, we are also excited to actually use this technology, emerging technologies, especially in the Government of Pakistan. But I was actually looking, you were actually giving different perspective, the use of AI and its benefits and some of the pros and cons. Is there any, the operational guidelines are there to use it during the, the designing of the evaluation, the data collection, then the analysis of the data and the report writing, to actually follow that, to have the more, the authentic standard guidelines, or these are still developing stage? Another thing is, I was very much interested in the era to actually looking for my own national level, at the national government level, to have similar type of database. But then the chatbot, what you actually mentioned, so that is a more, the open to have the database and not just the findings, recommendations, to have the broader thing, the situation analysis and all the things. So whether is there any difference between these two to use that for the different stages of the evaluation? Or I was like looking more the chatbot, which is more broader actually. Thank you.
Thank you. And we have a question here in the front. And then I'll take only one more question, and then we go back to responses. Thank you.
Merci. Je suis Valentine Sama. Je préside l'association des femmes chefs d'entreprise. Non, je préside l'association de l'évaluation togolaise. Et je voudrais savoir, à l'écoute des intervenants, je voudrais savoir si dans 5 ans, je me pose la question, je dirais, si dans 5 ans, nous pourrions encore nous retrouver ici en présentiel ou dans un autre pays pour parler de l'évaluation au regard de l'IA. Compte tenu de l'évolution rapide de l'IA, est-ce que nous pourrions conserver les emplois, et notamment dans le cadre de l'évaluation? Au point 2, je voudrais savoir également si s'il y a des personnes ici, des institutions qui expérimentent une plateforme de l'évaluation via l'IA, parce que nous savons que nous avons des systèmes intégrés d'évaluation multiples. Et est-ce que actuellement, par rapport à l'IA précisément, il y a des plateformes, quelqu'un qui expérimente une plateforme qui puisse faire évoluer davantage nos pratiques? Parce que personnellement, dans notre association d'évaluation togolaise, nous avons mis en place une plateforme, mais qui reste quand même sommaire, et que nous voudrions vraiment avoir de nouvelles pratiques pour avancer. Merci beaucoup.
Thank you very much. And I have a question in the back. Sorry. Yes.
Thank you very much. I have one comment and one question. The comment is related that the Inter-American Development Bank has already released guidelines and seminars online about how to use the international artificial intelligence in the public policies. They are making these courses basically to focus as a public international as AI as a project itself to evaluate the public policies and how to implement it in the government. And my question is the International Development Bank also involved in AIDA platform to develop also evaluation projects? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Just a quick question from you, and then I need to go back to the panelists.
Thank you very much. This is for all of the panelists. I was interested to know whether any of you have come up with any good technical solutions for how to further contextualize the different results that you get from your analysis and tools. For example, the ADA, we know that there's a geographical aspect you can add, but are there any other technical solutions? We know the human element, of course, is important in the interpretation, but when we do syntheses and summaries, are there any other technical solutions we can have for better contextualizing the findings? Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, so maybe Tom, Devika, would you like to start? Thank you.
Trying to see if I can answer multiple questions in one. So, start with some of the more technical questions. One was, can we search beyond papers? Can we have something beyond a search engine? Can we use data sets? You definitely can. However, there is a risk of data privacy. So this is why the way all of us presented information to you right now is using our own databases and using an API to query that database, which is a private way of using the large language models, versus when you upload things onto chatgpt.com or any of these websites, your data is not private. You're submitting that data to OpenAI or whatever company to be able to further use it in their training in the future. So you can upload data sets, you can upload other kinds of documents, but you have to be mindful that you're not uploading private information to these platforms. However, if you have technical knowledge of how to use an API, or which also you can learn online, or in ChatGPT itself, you can ask it, provide code for how to use an API to do this. You can use it to query different kinds of Excel documents or different kinds of data sets, and it's able to do that. However, you have to be mindful of what you would upload on the website versus in your API. And then the other question was about what is the difference between what IDA is doing versus what our chatbot is doing. And I hinted to this a little bit, but there is a difference between structured data extraction versus chatting. So what we are doing is at the back end, we're using the full text of the PDF and letting the large language model read all of it and extract information from it, which is sort of only something we're able to do recently because of the revolution in this technology. However, like Anish said, they've been working on this for a long time, and there are some other techniques that allow you to structure your data set before it even gets to the user. So you're pre-extracting some information, putting it in a more structured format, and then when the user is interacting with that, it's already kind of labeled into certain categories. So there's a difference between the large language model reading the paper and responding to you, which is a bit more, it's more human-like and more informal, but and obviously it can do a lot more, but it doesn't have that kind of classified structure of labels and categories that a different kind of structure might have, like IDA. So there are benefits to both, and depends on what you're looking for. If you're looking for like a general understanding, you want to understand, okay, what does the result of this paper even mean? You can use a chatbot and have it interact with it informally. But if you want a more structured summary with like exact interventions, outcomes, that kind of thing, then you want to refer to a more structured way of interacting with the technology.
Thank you, Devika. Maybe I would like to give the opportunity to Marco to respond.
Yeah. Thanks a lot. So quickly, on the question from the colleague from Pakistan, well, to my best knowledge, I'm not aware of operational guidance, mainly because I think a lot of different organizations are still experimenting, and AI is evolving very, very quickly. Every week there is something new, etc. And this brings me to the question from the colleague from India, who was asking, is it possible to include data sets, I don't know, national household surveys data sets, even the census data sets, etc. So technically, I think it's possible, not only secondary data set, but even primary data sets. For example, now we are discussing internally if we, how to reach different populational groups with different languages, and not only the English, the French, the Arabic, the Chinese, but really the local languages, etc. And AI can do it, can do interviews in the local language and then analyze and everything. But so from a technical point of view, that's possible. From an ethical point of view, that's where we are reflecting internally if it's the right things to do or not. That brings me to the question from the colleague from Togo, who you were asking somehow, are we going to lose our job, etc., with AI? As I said, I think it's very important that we really stay upfront with the development of AI. But having said that, that brings me to the comment from the colleague from Burundi about not only the digital divide, but the AI divide, that there will be more and more in the future. So it's really how we as the global evolution community make sure that AI will not only benefit the organizations or the countries that are more resourceful in terms of IT, etc., but will benefit all organizations and all countries. And that's one of the biggest challenges that I see for us as global evolution community when it comes to AI.
Thank you, Marco. I think this deserves its own conversation sometime. But I would like to have Lynn. Yes, please.
I will just answer the last two questions briefly. And I can provide the essays I read because it's very new. Like you can combine the existing application with combine with existing model and with the new models like OpenAI, because OpenAI is open for everyone, so that the data set is general. It's general, not specifically in the evaluation. And so, if you already have the data set of evaluation, you can use the new model to train. So that's my for the technical solutions. And for the national, I think they will not have exist one tools specifically for one nation, because just for myself, when I do the research, I will combine lots of models. And you need to find and to try. And also, it's too big questions. It's good question, but it's too big. Because for the evaluation, we have a lot of stages. And for the monitoring evaluation, they are totally different. And you need to combine and to try and to talk with other different experts. It's a very long journey, but I hope it will be good. Thank you.
Just to add to some of the questions, just to mention that in IDA, it's been solely IEO, UNDP IEO has been working on IDA. On the question related to other secondary data sets and setting up platforms, we are working on bringing secondary data sets into IDA, like the WDI indicators, UNDP project data, to make the insights more insightful. But one of the, comment that I would like to make is for if you would like to set up a system, AI system for your own government, you need to be mindful that when you see ChatGPT, it works well, you work with it and it's quite easy. But if you want to set up a system like ChatGPT for your government, there are many things you need to keep in mind. If you just use ChatGPT, you don't know where the data is going, right? So data privacy and the security of data, you have to be mindful. You need to set up your own infrastructure, and that is not cheap. It's going to be very costly, and you need a skill set to design models. You need to also have data, quality data to train your models. Otherwise, it will just look fancy. It does a wow thing, but the result will not be very useful. So there are some of the these are some of the points I would like to bring to your attention. You need to be mindful of those aspects. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And with this, I need to conclude the sessions. We are a little bit over time. However, from the Global Evaluation Initiative, I can promise you we will continue the discussion on AI through a series of webinars. I'm pledging right now that we are going to do that. So a round of applause for our panelists. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for being here, for the rich discussion, and enjoy lunch.